Don Maniaco style, homie. Whoopee!
Go home.
Fauci!
Go.
Hey, whoopee!
Go home.
Fauci!
Go.
Hey, whoopee!
Here we go, homie.
Fauci!
Go.
Hey, whoopee!
Go home.
Fauci!
You too, Vinny.
That's highly bioavailable, so it feeds the muscle quickly. I think they're good. There was no bloating.
Funny how? I mean, what's funny about it?
It's going right to your muscle. I mean, I see it right there.
No, I don't know. You said it. How do I know? You said I'm funny.
Shut up, homie. What up? It's Garage Gym, homie, and today we are going over step 10 of Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step program. Is it worth it? Before we get into this here, please click the subscribe button. I got content coming out all the dang time for you, man. So click subscribe and let's get into this, man. So we've been doing a whole, I've been on the series of the 12 steps, and I've been going through all the steps, and I've gone up to now we're on 10. I'll do 11 and 12 after, and then we'll wrap up the series maybe in another year or something. I'll go through them again. We'll see, because there's so much to cover. There's no way I could hit it all. But what I was saying, man, just to backtrack is, when I went through step 3, I made a contract with God. That's what the third step is. It's a contract with God that I'm going to follow through and do the rest of the steps immediately. So any step that comes after that I'm not doing, I'm not sticking to the third step. So if I do the third step and I made a contract with God by saying the prayer, and then I don't do step 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 10, if I don't do the 10th step, I'm really not doing the third step because I'm not sticking to my contract with God. So that third step is everything. And then I moved forward. I did my inventory and I wiped the slate clean. And a lot of people in AA, there's a lot of bad information that goes around the tables of AA. When I say the tables, I'm referring to the meetings. And, because people will say things that don't line up with what's in the book. And when I'm talking about the book, I'm talking about mine has a fancy cover on it, but it's the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And they'll say things that come out of their big head, not the big book. And one of those things I used to hear people say at meetings all the dang time was, every year I go back and I do a 4th step and stuff. There's nowhere in the book that says that. We do the 4th step and 5th step one time. And if we've been thorough and honest, we don't ever have to go back and do it again. There might be some things that come up that we forgot on the 4th step or whatever, and we might have to address those later and be like, hey, I forgot this. But to go back and do another 4th step, that's not what the book says. So we were actually given this 10th step to keep our slate clean. So let's talk about it. So when we did the 7-step prayer, we said, my Creator, I am now willing that you shall have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and to my fellows. God, grant me strength as I go on from here to do your bidding. Amen. So when I said that prayer, I didn't ask God to remove all of my defects of character. No. I asked God, if you look at the prayer, only to remove my defects that stand in the way of me being useful to him and the people around me. That means that after step 7, I'm still going to have defects that come up. I'm still going to have fear, resentment, selfishness, dishonesty, all those character defects that I found when I was doing the 5th step. Those things are still going to come up, but now they're there for a reason. God left them there on purpose for me to be useful to him and the people around me. So that's why we were given step 10, so I could find the use for those things and be of maximum service to God and my fellows. So I don't get to have a choice when to use this step. So let's talk about this here. So we go into step, first of all, just to read you what step 10 is. I think that's the first thing I should have done. It says, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admit it. We continue to take personal inventory, my inventory, looking within myself. And when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. So I can't just look at that step, just like all these other steps, on this page and think that I know what that means. That's why I got to go into the book. So I go to into action, and we're on page 84 in the big book. It says this thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commenced this way of living as we cleaned up the past. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. So a lot of people say things like, this is a maintenance step. This is to maintain your sobriety. That's not what the book says. This is a growth step. This is to continue to grow. We're not maintaining, we're growing. You see the difference between maintaining means you're not growing, you're just keeping, you're just maintaining your sobriety. We have to continue to grow spiritually. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. So it's telling us this step is a lifelong step. This is not like the steps before where you do it and you're done. You know, you do step 9, you make amends. That's it. You did step 4, you did your 4th step inventory list. You're done. You don't have to go back and do it again. Step 10 is something you continue for a lifetime. Same with 11 and 12. So those last 3 steps are to continue growing. And then it says here are the instructions for step 10. You ready for this? Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. So we continue to watch for those. It says, when these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. It doesn't say if they crop up. It says when they crop up. So what does that tell you? That they're going to crop up. The book's telling us we will be in fear. We will be selfish. We will be dishonest. We will be resentful. That doesn't mean we're doing something wrong. They will crop up. We ask God at once to remove them. So we don't ask God to remove them at once. We ask God at once to remove them. You see the difference? We go to God immediately. God first, always, right away. God, please remove my fear and direct my attention to what you would have me be. That was the fear prayer. They gave it to us in step 4. We went over it. The resentment prayer. God, this is a sick man or woman. Please help remove my resentments. God, save me from being angry. Help me how I can be helpful to them. Thy will be done, not mine. Resentment. God, please remove my selfishness. Whatever it is, we go to God right away. We don't wait a week and stay in our head and be in fear. That's where I fall short. I don't go to God at once sometimes. Sometimes I sit there and torture myself. That's why this is a growth step, because we're going to fall short. We continue to grow. We go to God at once. Right away when I have to watch for fear. God, please remove my fear. Then, when these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. So right away, after I go to God, I talk about it with someone immediately. I call my sponsor. I say, hey, I have a 10th step to talk to you about. It's a 10th step call. I'm in fear. He said, well, I know you're not calling me unless you called God first. I said, yeah, I prayed already. Now I'm talking to you. Then I talk about it. We decide together if I owe someone an amends or not. A lot of times I don't. Sometimes I do. If I was resentful or I acted wrong or whatever, or I did something dishonest, we decide. Then it says, the last step, then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. It doesn't say you run out and go help someone. It doesn't say run out and help someone. It says we turn our thoughts to someone we can help. We think about someone we can help. See, the wording is important in here. Everything's in here for a meaning. A lot of people take it and twist it. This step is literally life-saving. I don't get to decide when I don't have the luxury to decide when I get to use it. I am a recovered addict and alcoholic because of this step. God gave me a gift of removing my obsession to drink and get high. That never returned. But what does return, just like it tells me, is the craziness in my head. This thing continues to be noisy and I continue to be in fear, continue to be resentful, but there's a use for it. And I use this 10th step. And I've seen the blessings of what come that I never realized would come from using this 10th step. So the point of this step is to keep our slate clean, to keep our head clear, to continue growing. So that way I don't ever have to do a 4th step again, because none of this stuff will build up. Because only God knows if it does build up, I might not make it back to do a 4th step. I can't afford to let resentment build up untreated. That'll kill me, literally. The book tells me that. I can't do that. It'll destroy me. Same with fear, which is resentment anyway. Resentment's always backed by fear. And I can't be dishonest. If I'm dishonest, that means I'm in fear. I have no reason to lie unless I'm scared of something. So we continue to look at our part in these things and address these things as they come in. Love and tolerance of others is our code. And then listen to this. Are you ready for this? These are the 10th step promises. A lot of people heard of the 9th step promises. These are even deeper, man. I love these right here. And we have ceased fighting. So this is what happens if we do this step. We have ceased fighting anything or anyone. By this time, this is what should happen. Even alcohol. We don't fight it. For by this time, sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude towards liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it. Neither are we avoiding temptation. That's deep right there. We don't avoid temptation. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. God protects me. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. That's crazy. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. That's amazing. To think that a heroin addict like me, who couldn't go hours without getting high, the problem can just be removed. That's insane. And that was my experience. That is my experience. But it says here, it is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. It's easy to let up on this spiritual program of action, and I'm in trouble if I do. So I'm not out of the woods yet, man. I'm a recovered addict and alcoholic, but it's not too late for me to go back. Trust me. If I don't continue doing this, my head will be real noisy and trick me. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all our activities. They say the word must. We must. You know how many times they use the word must in this book? A lot. How can I best serve thee? That's a prayer. Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. They say must again. Thinking about God's will, not mine. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will. So it says we have begun to we have begun to develop this vital sixth sense, but we must go further, and that means more action. So this 10th step, man, I talk about this all the time with my viewers. I just don't tell them it's the 10th step. And I get my sponsees doing this like right from the start. You know, and they don't even know it, but I tell people I sponsor, I'm like, I want you to start watching for fear, resentment, selfishness, and dishonesty. And when it comes up, I want you to go to God right away, and then I want you to call me right away. God first, sponsor second. So then when we get to the step, they're like, man, I've been doing that already. I'm like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, you know, because we don't want new things building up. You got to keep a clean slate. So this keeps me a clean slate, and we continue to grow. And you got to know this stuff will crop up, and that's okay. But what's not okay is to sit and not address it when it comes up, because that'll kill you. And then if you're not doing this 10 step, we don't have the luxury to pick and choose when to use this step. So that's what I got. It's a very simple step. Continue to watch for these things. Ask God at once to remove it. Talk about it with someone immediately. Make amends quickly if we've harmed someone. Then we turn our thoughts towards someone we can help. If we're doing that, the stuff will not build up. And God will continue to help us grow in understanding and effectiveness, just like it says. That's what I got. And then you'll see also the value of why God left those things in our lives, these character defects, certain ones, to be a maximum service. Because if we're using this step, you're going to find the use for them. I hope you're excited, man. God bless you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video. Together, let's get this dang muscle.